commends Akeredolu administration for promoting transparency in public finance. Southern leaders convene high-level meetings to actualize regional ambition ahead 2023 presidential election. Nigerian students aligned with striking varsity lecturers capers government for abandoning education for politics. And from the foreign scene, Russia announces ceasefire in besieged southern Ukraine for civilians' evacuation. Thank you very much for joining us on the news at 7 on Osrc TV. I am Oyewumi Ayinigbara. Ondo State's Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu says his administration will continue to encourage professionalism towards promoting efficient service delivery in the public service. The governor, while receiving members of the Ondo State Accountant Forum at the Cocoa Conference Hall in Akure, applauded the contributions of accountants to the development of the state and its economy. The governor said the recent bifurcation of finance and administration department into two separate departments of finance and account and administration and personnel approved by the state government is to promote professionalism in public service of the state. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole has details of the event.
For over 20 years, accountants in Ondo State Public Service have dreamt of the recent bifurcation of the Finance and Administration Department by the state government, and this summed up their mood at the Cocoa Conference Hall of the Governor's Office in Akure. Members of the Forum of Accountants in Ondo State visited Governor Akeredolu to show appreciation to him for redefining their future and enhancing professionalism. The chairman, Bifurcation Committee, Mr. Ayodele Ojo, said the bifurcation of the Finance and Administration Department by the governor has laid to rest the agitation of over 20 years.
Apart from the advice that might be given, which is contrary to what is in existence, which is unknown to you, we thank you for using your power as Mr. Governor to answer our prayer.
In their messages of goodwill, former accountants general in Ondo State, Lawrence Ibukun and Folake Ogunika, commended the governor for the decision. Governor Akeredolu said the bifurcation of Finance and Administration Department into two separate departments of Finance and Account and Administration and Personnel is aimed at promoting professionalism.
One administration. Yes. It is one administration. You cannot now tear ourselves into different places. The one administration manager should always be with you in everything. Everything. The number of unknown ones are going into this profession. And I can see the number here. And since you say more than this, yes. I'm impressed. That's where I'm driving at about professionalism. Yes. It's important, and it is a quest to at least underscore professionalism as I led to this bifurcation.
The governor commended the people for their prudence in the management of the state resources, assuring that his administration will continue to do its best to promote infrastructural development across the state.
There's no way a government will exist, with all respect to all of them, will exist only to just to pay the salaries. It's not possible. And when you leave, what will be said of you? Yes. When you have budgets, and these are perfect chance to spend virtually over half on recurrent, nothing on capital. It doesn't make sense. We're only eating our future. And that's one reason why, when I came in, I made up my mind that your treasury building, I was going to complete it.
A special presentation was made to the governor in appreciation of his leadership quality in the state. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
And now to some election matters. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo expects his expression of interest and nomination forms to contest the 2023 presidential election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. A spokesman Laolu Akonde told journalists that the forms were collected by representatives of Osinbajo's support groups. He said a passionate team of support groups and individual Nigerians from across the country raised funds to support the purchase of the APC nomination forms for the Vice President's 2023 presidential bid. The APC expression of interest and nomination forms cost 100 million naira. Also, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi says his presidential aspiration is not an act of betrayal of his SY political associate, Bola Tinubu. He spoke when he featured on a television program. Fayemi, the current chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, had earlier on Wednesday declared his intention to run for the office of the president in 2023. The Ekiti governor and member of the All Progressives Congress in the race with Tinubu, who is also interested in clinching the presidential ticket of the ruling party at the APC primary election later this month. Meanwhile, about 10 months to the 2023 presidential elections, no fewer than 35 contenders are jostling to succeed incumbent Nigerian leader Muhammadu Buhari, while 29 of the individuals warming up for the top job in the country are men. 6 women, including the centenarian Madame Noye Josephine Ezenyache, have also thrown their heart into the ring. Our correspondent Kunle Ario, however, discovers that so far, only 5 of the 18 registered political parties have aspirants for the forthcoming polls.
As the race to Osrc in Abuja hots up, 35 aspirants have officially shown interest in the presidential race. Among the aspirants are 29 men and 6 women, including 102-year-old Madame Noye Josephine Ezenyache, also known as Living Legend or Mama Africa. Not fewer than 18 of the aspirants are from the main opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP), while 12 are from the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). The African Democratic Congress (ADC) has 2, All Progressive Grand Alliance (APGA), Social Democratic Party (SDP), and the People's Redemption Party (PRP) also have aspirants. Other women in the race are Khadijat Okono Lamidi (SDP), Ibinabo Joy Dokubo (APC), Patience K (PRP), Olivia Diana Teriala, who is running on the platform of PDP, and Angela Johnson, APGA. Those running for the PDP ticket include former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Senate President and Kwara State Governor Dr. Bukola Saraki, Rivers State Governor and former Minister of State for Education, Mr. Nyesom Wike, Akwa Ibom State Governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, Sokoto State Governor, Chairman of PDP Governors Forum and former Speaker of the House of Representatives Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, Boshi State Governor and former FCT Minister Senator Bala Mohammed. In the race also are former Ekiti State Governor Mr. Yodele Fayoshe, former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Mohammed Ihatuddin, former Senate President and Secretary to the Government of the Federation Senator Anyum Pius Ayim, former Governor of Anambra State and 2019 Vice Presidential Candidate of the PDP Mr. Peter Obi. Others are veteran journalist and publisher Mr. Dele Momodu, former President, Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, MAN, Nancy Sam Ohabuwan, and Dr. Nwachukwu Anakweze. Gunning for the APC tickets are 3rd Republic Senator and former Lagos State Governor Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, former Imo State Governor Senator Rochas Okorocha, a businessman Reverend Moses Ayom, and Ebonyi State Governor Dave. Others are Kogi State Governor Alhaji Yahaya Bello, former Abia State Governor and Senate Chief Whip Senator Oji Uzor Kalu, Transportation Minister and former Governor of Rivers State Mr. Rotimi Amechi, businessman Ikechukwu Dallas Chima, and founder of Latare Assembly Dr. Tunde Bakare. So far, 2 men are jostling for the ADC presidential ticket. They are former CBN Deputy Governor and 2019 presidential candidate Professor Kisley Mogalu and management expert Chukuma Moyen. The presidential election will be held on the 25th of February 2023. The primaries are scheduled for between April 4 and 3rd of June 2022. The winners of the election will be inaugurated on May 29, 2023. Kunle Ario, OSRC News.
And now, former Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun has joined politicians who have officially declared to run for the seat of president in 2023. He made a declaration in Abuja during a televised event which had Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi in attendance. Senator Amosun unveiled an 8-point agenda through which, if elected, he intends to transform the country's fortunes. In the meantime, in bids to ensure that the South produces the next president, leaders in the Southeast and the Southwest have convened strategic meetings. The leaders of the Pan-Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization, Waneze Indigbo, and the leading member of the All Progressives Congress in the Southwest, who spoke separately with journalists, warned that the high number of Southern presidential aspirants was a threat to the effort of the region to produce the next president. The meetings in Enugu and Lagos were meant to ensure that the number of aspirants is reduced in order to strengthen the unity in the zones. Similarly, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says all the 18 political parties have served the required notices indicating the dates for their conventions, congresses and primaries for the purpose of nominating candidates for various elective offices as specified in the Constitution and the Electoral Act. A statement by National Commissioner and Chairman, Voter Education Committee of INEC, Festus Okoye, said some of the parties have already commenced the process for which the Commission has deployed staff to monitor the exercise as required by law. Okoye reminded political parties that they have 1 month from today to conclude their primaries. The statement restates that the deadline remains Friday, 3rd June 2022. While urging the parties to ensure rancor-free and transparent exercise, the Commission reiterates that the deadline is firm and fixed. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. After the break, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
My people, 20,000 naira bonus with your glory and enjoy up to 20 cars. Free bonus.
I think I want to link this to my hand to my glory.
That was simple now. Call 109 now. Or just dial star 109 hash. Or you can just text your NIN to 109. What of people like us will not get NIN at all? What can any glow one and register? Bonus free.
Abego, how Mr. Fiti can get this 20,000 naira?
Whether you be old or new glow customer, collect your whoop now when we say in the hot. Bonus free.
Rose, I don't receive my own bonus. No, thank you.
Up to 20 cars. Bonus free.
You're welcome back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook Osrc TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. As political parties gear up for the conduct of primaries, which will produce flag bearer for different elected positions in 2023 general election, intrigues and consultations have continued to heighten while aspirants are about their quest of getting the needed support to become candidates. Political parties are strategizing on how to conduct each free exercise with the hope to present popular candidates for available positions. Said Aribisala in this report speaks with leaders of parties on the composition of delegate and interest management.
The expression of interest and procurement of nomination forms in different political parties for various elective positions in the 2023 general election are still on, while the electoral umpire, INEC, has fixed June the 3rd as deadline for political parties to conduct their primary elections. Aspirants are busy consulting with constituents and stakeholders for the actualization of their dreams. Political parties are also having their hands full as strategies for the conduct of the election are being in place to provide a solid foundation to build their quest for power. At some of Ondo State chapter of the 18 political parties in Nigeria, arrangement on composition of delegates and dates for the exercise, among others, are still being factored. In the All Progressives Congress, State Party Chairman Ade Adetimeyi said supremacy of the party will be the guiding light in its processes.
The aspirants that are on the field canvassing for votes, and the party is meeting to strategize. That's what we are doing currently. You see people now, everybody is busy. Delegates are not from the moon. They are members of our party. Delegates are part and parcel of the party, and the party's well structured. We are geared towards free and fair primary. That's what we are planning. Party is in charge. The supremacy of the party will play a front burner. That's what we are doing. And I love my people, and my people will stand with the party. Because they love the party. They will never do anything contrary to the progress of the party.
For the Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Kennedy Perete, candidates will emerge from the over 50 aspirants for different positions through the decision of delegates.
For the House of Assembly, there are 78 persons jostling for the 26 seats that are in the House of Assembly. For the House of Reps, we have received 37 interests, 30 persons who have expressed their willingness to participate in those elections. Then for the House of Senate, there are 8 that have indicated interest to contest.
In the African Democratic Congress, Action Congress, and Allied People's Movement, the strategies to present popular candidates to wrestle power from other political parties top priority.
We have 2 aspirants that have shown interest, and I mean interest, I mean that have obtained the form. So for now, we have the 2 House of Representatives. We have 62 delegates. We don't just say, oh no, this one has money to pick the form, let him pick. No, we look for people of high qualities.
Presently, we have 34 aspirants that have signified interest, that have been picking up, the forms. The State House of the rep, which is the upper chamber of the National Assembly, we already have about 14 that have signified interest, and in the Senate we have 5 already. So we are looking at how we bring all of them together. The committee, once it's been set up from the national, they're going to do a thorough screening for everybody. If it warrants them going to the poll, if it doesn't warrant them, then we'll validate, one each for each of the offices.
There are guidelines from INEC. We are following the guidelines to the letter. And I can assure you, we will not be found wanting of anything by INEC. If you are aware of our plans for these few days, we are preparing for our congresses, our World Congress, our local government Congress, and our state Congress.
Though the Independent National Electoral Commission has enjoined political parties to conduct peaceful primaries, the interplay of interest and how well these parties will swim the waters of the election will no doubt attract attention. Sahid Aribisala, OSRC News.
President of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NAN, Sunday Ashifo, has suggested that the union is prepared to hit the streets to protest the strike embarked on by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. According to Mr. Ashifo, the government appears not to be interested in ending the strike as focus shifts to elections in 2023. He referenced the protest in Benin City embarked by some university students. Ashifo called on government to stop playing politics with the ASU issue. Meanwhile, management of Federal Polytechnic Ado-Ekiti has decided that students will bring cars to campus. Spot tattoos and dreadlocks, among others, will be suspended for a semester with their cars forfeited. According to the institution's Deputy Registrar Student Affairs, Mrs. O.F. Ajayi, the school administration will not condone indecent dressing, hairstyles, and other misconduct. The rules were recommended by the Student Welfare Committee (SWC) and approved at the 110th Statutory Council meeting held in March. According to the new rules, students who wear tattered jeans, micro-mini jeans, jump tops, off-shoulder clothes, transparent wear, bump shorts, and backless clothes will be suspended for a semester. The Ondo State government has partnered a non-governmental organization, Gender Mobile, to combat gender-based and sexual violence in the state's higher institutions. At the signing of the multi-sectorial agreement in Akure, Special Advisor to Governor Akeredolu on Gender, Olamide Falana, and the Executive Secretary of the NGO, Omowumi Ogunrotimi, pledged to implement the projects diligently to make the institution safe for girls. Osrc's Richard Daily Summary reports that the agreement comes months after the state government set up the Gender-Based Violence Agency with relevant legislation to address the social issue.
Kidnapping, sexual assaults, and the number of female students allegedly victimized by ritualists are indicators of high rates of gender-based violence in Nigeria's tertiary institutions, statistically reported to have reached alarming levels. Here in Ondo State, the government is activating structures and processes to address the social issue, culminating in this partnership with Gender Mobile, a non-governmental organization, to strengthen higher institutions' responses to gender-based violence. The special advisor to Governor Akeredolu on Gender, Olamide Falana, and her counterpart on education, Olawumi Lawole, signed the agreement on behalf of the state government, while the NGO's executive secretary, Omowumi Ogunrotimi, signed on behalf of our organization. Falana said the partnership furthers the Ondo State government's war on gender-based violence, a commitment, she says, the government has shown by creating an agency and strengthening it financially.
Now, following this, we'll be going around our institutions of learning across the state to ensure that the key into this process right after the strike, the ones that are in school right now, will reach out to them. The ones that were by the time the strike ends, we'll also reach out to others that are not in school at the moment, so that we can bring every institution on board and ensure that this information, this partnership goes across board.
The NGO's executive secretary, Omowumi Ogunrotimi, said the program, tagged Campus Safety Initiative, is an integrated approach to strengthen higher institutions' responses to gender-based assault through innovation, including the use of mobile application.
What this partnership agreement we've signed with the Ondo State government will do is, Ondo State government is, exercising or demonstrating the political will to own the process in a way that they will be the ones to drive it, mandate these state-owned institutions of higher learning to actually adopt this model, while we then, provide the technical support to them to develop their policy, to build their capacity to be able to respond to sexual harassment.
Also, the special advisor on education, Lawole, Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Adebumi Oshadaun, representatives of security agencies, tertiary institutions, International Federation of Female Lawyers, and other partners committed to the faithful execution of the project.
I see this as something that is very timely, because also at the state executive level, we're also looking at measures in which to curb a lot of all this menace.
That is equally very passionate about what happens to our future mothers, that we are ready to collaborate with your outfit.
With governmental support, it will go a long way to ensure that the society reduces, if not completely, totally eliminates gender-based violence.
According to statistics cited by the NGO's executive secretary, over 68% of students in tertiary institutions are said to have experienced sexual and gender-based assaults. This collaborative approach is expected to change the narrative. Richard Lesomi, Osrc News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived at Ebonyi State to commission some infrastructure projects. The projects, up to 16, include a flyover and the King David University of Medical Sciences, all in Uburu and Osrc local government area. President Buhari commended the Ebonyi State government for executing what it describes as life-changing projects for economic transformation in the state. Governor David Umahi said his government will continue to support the federal government's agenda of economic diversification through state-of-the-art projects. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has described his former boss Umaru Musa Yar'Adua as a selfless leader. 12 years after the former Nigerian president's death, Jonathan said Yar'Adua's type is hard to find in the country. Yar'Adua was the president of Nigeria from 2007 to 2010 and died of an illness on May 5, 2010. The late Yar'Adua from the North emerged president after ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo of South had completed his two tenure of 4 years each. Many houses have been submerged after flood took over some areas in Ugudu district areas of the Federal Capital Territory. 2 persons were rescued from the flood. The flood, which was caused by a downpour, affected roads leading out of Lokoguma to Gudu and Shell Cooperative through NCDC Laboratory to Gaduwa Estate. A resident of Ifab Estate, who simply gave his name as Uche, said they had been experiencing the flooding on a yearly basis, adding that the area had become prone to flooding because of poor channelization of water. The Nigerian Police Force has vowed to fish out owners of dogs who pay ladies to have sex with their pet. Force Public Relations Officer Muyiwa Adejobi, who made this known in a statement to journalists, said the dog owners will be punished and prosecuted upon their arrest. He also said security agents won't relent until ladies seen having sex with dogs in viral TikTok videos are apprehended. And now to the foreign scene. Russia said it would hold fire for the day at the besieged steel plant in southern Ukraine to get armed civilians a chance to get out. Some of the Ukrainian soldiers inside the other steel plant in Mariupol were making last stand against Russian forces, doing Ayigusi reports.
Ukrainian fighters have been holding out at underground bunkers and scrolling steel works for months, and for past few days it has been seen heavy fighting as Russian forces try to capture the last pocket of resistance in a strategic important city. In spite of running out of food and ammunition, the soldiers say they have no intention of surrendering.
Slava Ukraini!
Mariupol's garrison for 70 days has resisted the overwhelming forces of the enemy by itself. Since the 25th of April, we have held a circular defence of the Avastol plant. It is the second day the enemy has broken through into the plant. There are heavy, bloody battles.
But it's not just soldiers holding up here. Hundreds of civilians remain trapped. Others have been evacuated in recent days, but the Ukrainian president has been appealing for help to get those who remain to safety.
Today I spoke to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and we discussed what we have already achieved and what is still necessary to do to save Mariupol and the defenders of Mariupol city. There is not a single day that I and my team wouldn't do this, and I'm grateful to everybody who helps.
Russia has promised to cease fire 3 days to let women and children escape. If the promise is kept, it may be the final opportunity before the Russians move in to end resistance in Mariupol once and for all. Oladoyin Ayegbusi, Osrc News.
And with that, we conclude the news at 7. But before we go, again, here are the top stories. The Forum of Accountants Ondo State have applauded the Akeredolu administration for promoting transparency and accountability in public finance. They gave the commendation during a visit to the governor in Akure. Leaders of the southern region of Nigeria have convened strategic meetings towards actualizing the region's ambition ahead of the 2023 presidential election. The meetings are expected to climax tomorrow. And we also told you that the National Association of Nigerian Students have threatened to embark on nationwide street protest over the lingering ASU strike. And that's the news tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Good evening.